What's up guys, and welcome back to the Krytac build. In this episode, I'm going to be replacing the charging handle, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. Okay, so the first thing you need is going to be a charging handle, what you're deciding to replace it to. In particular, in this one, I'm replacing it for a dragon style charging handle, similar to the Rainier arms without the trades. Pretty nice charging handle, and it makes it look a lot better on the rifle. You're going to need an Allen key to undo the front receiver screw, a screwdriver, and a hammer to obviously punch out the front pin. Now you can use a punch, but in this one I'm just going to use a screwdriver. Okay, so let's get into it. So first off, loosen the front Allen key head screw on the other side, the front receiver pin. As you can see, it's just a little screw, so keep that aside, don't lose it. Next thing you want to do is punch out the pin. Now it is pretty stiff, and I do suggest if you can get a punch, use a punch than more than the screwdriver, as it might round the threads. As you can see, it is a little bit stiff, so just punch it all the way through. It will just drop out the end, it won't stay in, so you've got to be aware that you don't lose that pin as well. So as you can see, it just drops out. Just put that aside. Next thing you're going to want to do is separate the top receivers for the bottom, and then just put the bottom aside because you're not going to need that for this part. Take out the barrel, because all you're going to be using is the top half of the receiver, and the barrel's just going to get in the way for this part. Okay, in the upper receiver you'll see the charging handle attached to the spring. And round the little screw, you'll see obviously the spring's hooked round. So what you're going to want to do is loosen the little screw inside, take that out like so, and then obviously it'll release the spring tension off it, and then all you'll do is slide the charging handle out. Now be aware, the part that releases the dust cover is plastic, so be careful when you're releasing this out. Now it is like you've got to like slide it out and lift it up a little bit, but be careful that the spring doesn't catch on the outside of the receiver when you open the dust cover, which happened here. Now as you can see, I've got the charging handle out. Now you are going to need that extra long bit that you can't see attached to the other charging handle, as you can see. So what you want to do, there's a little tiny screw that holds the plastic section in, so just loosen this little screw out. Be careful because it is only small, and you don't want to round the head on it because obviously you're going to need it. So just loosen that off. And then that plastic section should just come apart. And then all you do is take the spring off the hook and grab your new charging handle and hook it round. Like so. Make sure it's all straight as well. And then obviously you want to put the plastic part back on. So there's two little tiny holes in the side of the charging handle. One at the plastic part, you'll see that slots in, and then obviously you can just grab your little screw and screw that in as well. Just make sure it's tight, but not too tight that you round the head on the screw. Okay, so once you've got it back together, you're going to want to slot it back in. Now, be careful because obviously the part's plastic, so you don't want to be snapping any of the plastic parts on this charging handle now you've put it back together. So just ease it in nice, make sure it's all the way in, slot it all the way in. And now, this is probably the hardest part about this whole like disassembly and reassembly, is getting that spring back around the little screw, because obviously it's under a bit of tension because it needs to be to release the dust cover. So what you want to do is screw it in. I suggest you screw it in a little tiny bit. The screw, having a magnetic screwdriver is going to help a lot to obviously get in there in the fiddlier part. So just screw it in a tiny bit, and then what you want to do is get the spring, the hook on the end of the spring, and pull it past the screw and drop it down behind the screw, and it should, as you release the screwdriver out a little bit, having a smaller screwdriver will help. As you do it, it should just hook around the screw, and then just like nudge it into place, make sure it's all nice and neat, and then obviously just screw down tight. Then just do a little test as well. Pull the new charging handle back and forward. Make sure it obviously cycles. If you can, it mightn't show it, like you mightn't see it too well on this, but it should just release the dust cover a little bit. Obviously, it'll work a lot better when there's a gearbox in there and it's pushing the new charging handle against the dust cover, so it'll work a lot better to release it. But it should work as it is. Don't worry if as you're testing it here it doesn't release. Now all you've got to do is put it back together. Okay, so once you've got the Allen key back in, all you've got to do is test it. And as you can see, bolt opens okay. Release the bolt a few times, open the dust cover, there you go. New charging handle now fitted, and it looks a lot nicer than the original. Bear in mind, the new charging handle will be a bit stiff, so you've just got to work it in a little bit. Obviously, because it's new parts, so just let them work in together. I hope you enjoyed this section of the build. Stay tuned for the next part, which will be coming soon.